Welcome back, everybody. If you're new, my name's Nicholas, and this is Investing Against the Grain. In today's episode, we are going to be reviewing and uncovering some breadcrumbs, hints that I believe Elon Musk has been leaving for all of us Tesla fans, Tesla investors, and people that just generally support the Tesla mission and community about moving towards sustainable energy, about full self-driving to, lessen the daily deaths that we see on the road from children to adults. And I want to unpack a lot of the hints that I really think he's leaving out there for all of us about what's happening, what's coming down the line with a lot of Tesla in-house innovation. And frankly, I don't think he's being that subtle. I think he's pretty much just telling us flat out, a lot of this stuff is almost ready. It's going to come a lot faster than what you even think. Okay, before we get into that, do us a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell. This really helps get this channel and this type of information to a wider audience. Even if you don't agree with everything I say, it's very good for people to see a different perspective so that then they can make their own decisions and maybe see a perspective they didn't think about before. Maybe they agree, maybe they don't, but either way, it helps people expand their point of view and see different perspectives. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. Before we get into the main topic of this video, I think it's important to address what this week has been so far. Okay, let's take a look at a quick Tesla chart for the week so far. So we can see here that on Monday morning, Tesla took a bit of a dive, about 4.5%, which in the big scheme of things is nothing. Okay, but it did have a noticeable drop, and we should talk about it a little bit. Now, as we all know, on Monday, we found out about Evergrande, which is the second largest property development company in China. And they essentially came out and said that they're not going to be able to make some of their debt interest payments come Monday, and pretty much more that are going to come up this week. Now, we don't need to get too in-depth about this. All you really need to know is that companies like this tend to over-leverage themselves, and that's how they grow. Now, the Chinese government, odds are they're not going to let this company just die and go bankrupt and then have a whole housing catastrophe within China. Okay, now I also don't think that they're going to publicly come out and buoy the company and protect them. Right? I think the Chinese government will do a lot of backhand stuff, supporting other of the domestic banks and doing something to prop up the company itself and really prevent a global a domestic housing crisis. All right, so I think we can be rest assured that something's going to happen there, and China isn't just going to let their own economy die. Now, even if something were to happen, I really think it'd be a very minimal impact with us here in the United States. And for a company like Tesla globally, I don't think this would really have that much of an impact. Okay, this is more so of a China issue, a China with all of their ghost cities. If you don't know anything about that, YouTube it. There are some crazy videos out there about the China ghost cities. Anyways, let's get back to Tesla. So if we look at this chart, we can see here that around 3 p.m. on Monday, during power hour, the Tesla made a bit of a comeback. And then on Tuesday, that comeback continued, not by too much, by about $10, so call it 1.5%. It made a nice little comeback here. Now, I never ever really care about the day-to-days of Tesla or any other stock that I might be invested in during a given time. I fundamentally believe these day-to-days are inconsequential. We in this channel, our mission is about long-term investments, about holding for the long term, about investing in companies, not investing in price of a stock or, what's the PE ratio or anything like that. We care more so about the underlying business, because if the underlying business is good, if it's revolutionary, if it's growing, then everything's going to work itself out, and it's going to continue with the up and to the right momentum. Now, with that said, let's take a look at a longer term perspective and see what the stock looks like. So if I bump this out to the last year, we can see that Tesla is currently trading within this channel. And this channel is that steady up and to the right progress. Up here, we can see this is the all-time high, about $900 a share, and we're just marching up and to the right. This is what I care about. Even with that 4 to 5% dip, it really had no impact. It stayed within the channel. Everything's still healthy within the stock itself. So again, remember, you should really be investing for the long term. If your horizon is 5+ years, then this is inconsequential. It's just a blip in the radar. It should have no impact in your strategy. It should have no impact in your thesis within Tesla. All that should be solid, okay? Nothing is changing. Think of it this way. Your house price, if you own a house, changes day to day, okay? It could go up a couple percent, it could go down a couple percent, but guess what? That doesn't mean you're selling your house every day. Doesn't mean that you're thinking about putting up on the market every time it takes a little dip or goes up a little bit, okay? So don't be the same way with your investments, okay? Make sure you stay consistent, invest for the long term, invest into companies. Don't invest into a stock price, okay? If you do that, you're just gonna have all sorts of issues, and at that point, you might as well be a day trader, which is not what we're about here, okay? So again, we just addressed this mainly because it has been all over the news. It's been the only thing people are talking about, but at this point, I think we've given it enough attention, and let's get to the good stuff. Now, the first thing I want to take a look at is this tweet from Elon Musk to Clean Technica with an article that they had posted about plug-in electric vehicles get 20% market share in Germany in August. And Elon just commented saying September will be interesting. Now, the nature of this article, it really doesn't matter to me. I mean, I could tell you Tesla was in second place with the Model 3 during this time span, but I really don't care about that. What I care more about is Elon's comment, which is very telling to me. September will be interesting. And Elon obviously knows a lot of the numbers that we don't know, that we wait for at the end of every month. This tells me that Elon has a high degree of confidence that we are going to have an amazing Q3. He expects this to drastically change as we've seen every other quarter, okay? We all know that towards the end of the quarter, that's when Tesla really makes their big push. That's when we really start to see the numbers show up in charts and articles such as this. Anything before that is really just, people trying to throw FUD or just trying to make things look a certain way as if Tesla is struggling. Not saying that's what's happening here in this article, but it is a theme that we see. The main point of this is mainly that Elon is confident in September. I think this is very evident by his tweet, and that we should be excited about what the Q3 numbers could look like. We already saw a preview for this past August, 44,000 vehicles out of just Giga Shanghai. We know what's going to look like from Fremont, or we have an idea. And then if we really extrapolate that 44,000 out to September as a very conservative number, this could be a very big blowout Q3 for Tesla. So that's very exciting. However, that is not what I was actually really excited about to talk about with this episode. That's what's coming up now. Now, Elon had a series of tweets that I want to unpack, and I think it's very telling about where the status is with FSD, full self-driving. Okay, so let's take a look at this first tweet. This first tweet says, good feedback from FSD Beta 10 users. 10.0.1 point release rolling out now. 10.1 rolls out a week from Friday with beta request button. Now, I know, this is old news, okay? We've all known about this already. It happened about 4 or 5 days ago. But I just want to stitch a picture for everybody together. So first, 10.1 rolls out a week from Friday with the beta request button. Okay, this was the first thing that kind of perked my eyebrows up. And I was thinking, okay, the beta release button is going to come out. We've heard this story. Is this real? Is it not real? And as much as I want to be conservative in my excitement, something I have noticed is that Elon's been more and more dead accurate about his predictions with these release cycles. Okay, and I think a lot of that has to do with this new iteration without having radar, having everything just being done with the neural nets. It's allowed them to iterate, retrain the neural nets at a faster clip. And I think we're starting to see that. And so when this came out, the part inside of me that I try to bury down, that excitement about just becoming too much of a, I believe everything Elon says kind of person, it started to boil up. And so this was like the very beginning of that boiling. It's like, okay, we might have something going on here. And then we found this next tweet. Okay, someone asked if FSD subscribers will be eligible for the beta. And Elon replies simply yes. And so that told me, okay, well, this may be a real thing if he's going to let the subscribers even use FSD. Okay, so even that, I was kind of suppressing my excitement. But that's very telling, and that's exciting because that means that it's not just people who pay the $10,000. That means anybody out there who has a Tesla that has all the prerequisite FSD hardware, cameras, everything, right, which should be most vehicles, that they can turn on FSD beta whenever they want. Like that means that there could be this huge, massive amount of data ingestion that Tesla gets for training of the neural nets. Okay, that means that we get just orders and orders of magnitude more edge cases that are going to get fed back to Tesla. Okay, that's the holy grail, is those edge cases, right? Whether it's someone like Gali going through the monorail, experiment, whether it's Chuck Cook, I always forget his name, I don't know why, and handling those unprotected left-hand turns and just kind of the blind spot he has there. Whether it's Frenchie in Chicago making those very wide left-hand turns, that's just kind of complicated, right? All those little edge cases. We're not just going to be having the 2,000 beta testers. We're going to have 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people with edge cases like that being sent back to Tesla. And if you've been watching my videos, if you haven't, check them out in my playlist. I'll link the latest one right here. Check them out. The iteration from 8.1 to 8.2, from 9 to 9.1 to 9.2 to 10 to 10.0.1. It has been crazy how much the progress has happened. And that's only with the 2,000 beta testers. Now we're going to increase that by several orders of magnitude. This is telling, okay? This means they're ready to dial it up, right? So once I saw this, to me, it's like, okay, we're gonna start getting excited now. All right, so then we stumble upon this tweet response from Elon. So someone from Norway reaches out and says, when is FSD in Norway? Bought it twice now and early. Elon's response: technology is probably ready in a few months, aka by the end of the year. By the way, who has been saying that all year long? Yeah. Okay, technology probably ready in a few months. Thereafter, limited by regulatory approval. This means Elon Musk believes that FSD will be more or less feature complete, enough so to do a wide release to every country, to every city in a few months. Okay, and I'm sure a lot of this is based off of the fact that they're going to release the button. They're going to be able to get all these new edge cases and iterate and retrain. Okay, the speed at which this improves is going to start going up in an exponential fashion. And so what he's saying here is that at this point, it's not going to be a limitation on the technology or FSD. He's saying the limitation will be on regulators approving this, allowing countries, municipalities, towns, cities, etc., to approve this. Okay, this is profound. It's one thing when he says in a year, maybe a year and a half, something will be ready. Now he's saying few months. Even if a few months is off, let's say it's off by 3, a year and a half, maybe, and it's ready. I mean, this is wild, right? We are getting so close. All right, so then someone else asked, will everyone get the beta right away, or about how many upon beta request button? Yeah, okay, so Elon says beta button will request permission to assess driving behavior using Tesla insurance calculator. If driving behavior is good for 7 days, beta access will be granted. So this will be Tesla's approach to making sure that the people who actually use the beta button are safe, reliable drivers who are the type of people that they want using this software, right? They don't want people who are going to use and abuse it. They don't want to have somebody like, I'm not going to name names, but other organizations and affiliates out there who are just hell-bent on trashing Tesla and showing how things don't work properly and how, whatever they want, right? Up to this point, nobody else could have the beta other than the 2,000 testers that Elon and Tesla have approved. But now, with FSD subscription, anybody can have it. With the $10,000 subscription, anybody can have it. And it's all based on how they've driven over the past 7 days once they enable the insurance monitoring tool. So that's great that they're taking that into account, but also, it allows them to make sure that, it's not people who are just, horrible drivers. They're going to use this and going to just create a horrible track record for FSD because now they're doing stupid things with it. All right, we don't need anyone ghost riding the whip, if you will. Okay, so Holmar's catalog tweets saying, to be clear, you must always have a driver who is paying attention and ready to take over when using autopilot. Mind you, Holmars has the FSD beta, right? He's one of the 2000 testers. Even this super advanced city streets version, yet it's not perfect and can make mistakes, but they are working towards true driverless and will release updates over the air. Elon responds, remarkable how few people realize this capability exists. Many think it is 5 years away. With public beta rollout in coming weeks, awareness should improve dramatically. So I want to touch on a couple things. One, this is yet again where people are talking about how you have to be safe with this. Okay, Tesla's taking an approach of 7 days, right, to make sure that it's a good driver. Holmars, who's an active user of the beta, is telling people, hey, it's excellent. The software is amazing, but you must be vigilant. You must pay attention. It's not there yet. Okay, so you have to make sure that you're on top of this. Okay, you have to be aware. You have to pay attention at all times. You have to be ready. Now, this next one is just kind of that series continue. You can see here, Elon talks about how remarkable few people see it. And Silicon Valley Club responds, how are you judging good behavior over the 7 day period? Which is a great question, right? Over the 7 day period, what is it you're looking at? And Tesla responds saying, Tesla insurance calculator will show status in real time and tell you what actions are needed to be rated good driver. I love this because I could have easily seen where there's an outcry of people who have paid for the 10,000 FSD or people who, subscribe for it, and they all of a sudden aren't deemed as good drivers and they're complaining about it. Why am I not? I do all the right things. I love that this is going to tell people what you have to do to qualify as a good driver. Okay, it's transparent. It tells you, hey, this is what you keep doing. This is where you're screwing up. Stop doing this for 7 days, and then we'll trust you and we'll let you get the button. So I think that's excellent. There's also a follow-up question. Is the Tesla insurance calculator on shadow mode world over? And Elon responds, no, has to be turned on by car owner. Again, love this because this is a security first approach. This is a consumer consent first approach. Okay, they don't just have it running in shadow mode. They're not just taking all of the telemetry information and understanding about you and how you're driving. Instead, they're making sure that you acknowledge it, you approve that this is turned on, and now we'll look at how you're driving, all those metrics, and we'll make a determination based off that. And if you don't qualify, then we'll tell you why and how to correct it. And guess what? This just makes the world safer. This is going to incentivize people to drive safer so that they can get the button. So even without full self-driving being released or ready, it's going to force people to drive safer just so that they can get the button. I mean, these are the simple things that people aren't thinking about. And this is the drastic ripple effect that can occur. All right. I mean, just imagine if one life is saved because people are trying to drive safer just so they can get the button, it's worth it. If one life is saved, it is completely worth it. Now, here's the final tweet that I want to touch on from Elon. And he says, ironically, yes, at this time, FSD beta system at times can seem so good that vigilance isn't necessary, but it is. Also, any beta user who isn't super careful will get booted. 2,000 beta users operating for almost a year with no accidents needs to stay that way. So I want to end with this tweet for two reasons. One, it shows we're getting very close. Elon believes in this. He knows we're getting close, whether it's in 3 months from now, 4 months, 5 months, even if it's a year from now. It is so close to getting there to complete where it will no longer be considered beta. But right now, it is beta. So for all of those of you at home, all my Tesla fans, everyone, even if you get this, remember, it's still beta. Okay, we still have to be vigilant. We have had 2,000 beta testers for the last year with 0 accidents. Let's not be the reason why this number changes from 0. Okay, let's be on top of ourselves. Let's pay attention. Let's use it appropriately. If we let other people drive our cars, make sure they understand what they're doing. Okay, we have to make sure that we don't do stuff to shoot ourselves in the foot. Remember, the longer this takes, the more people die. Okay, as far as children, the number one cause of death for children is car accidents. It's automobile injuries, automobile accidents, right? Think about that every time you drive. It's literally something I think about every single time I drive with my fiance. I think about all of the craziness around us, how we're driving, all of the idiots out there. And, in fairness, not everybody's an idiot, but people get distracted. Okay, we don't have all the cameras around like a Tesla does driving for us. We have two eyes on a gimbal, okay? A little distraction over here, I look that way, something else happens this way. All right, we're susceptible, we're humans, we make mistakes. But that is why it's so paramount that we don't screw this up and we get to full self-driving as fast as possible. Again, I think Elon is hinting, very bluntly hinting at us, it's coming, it's here, we're so close. We're gonna release the button, we are going to be able to iterate orders of magnitude faster with more edge cases, and that will get us to that point where we can do a wide release, and at that point, it's purely up to regulators. It'll be purely up to regulators whether they allow it in their cities, in their municipalities, in their towns, etc. All right, if you guys have stuck with me to the end, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. This is something I'm very passionate about. I think we're close, and I think saving lives, making sure that we get to a world, to an era in society where these aren't the type of issues we have. Okay, we're not losing pointless lives because of automobile accidents, and we're not wasting pointless amounts of hours of our lives driving, paying attention to a commute. Right, we need to get past that. We can be more productive. We can use our minds, our imagination so much better with that time. Okay, we're gonna leave it there. Thank you all for watching again to the end. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell, and as always, I love you guys. Peace.